Hi guys, so we are going to provision Windows Virtual Machine in Azure. The prerequisite is that you have VS Code installed. So I'm going to drop a link to a GitHub account, actually my GitHub account, where you can run code on your computer to install VS Code. We also need to install Terraform CLI, Azure CLI as well. So you must have those CLIs installed and you must log into Azure via your terminal. So for instance, if I want to be sure that I've authenticated via terminal, I can open the VS Code and then come to view and go to terminal, or I can also, click on this drop my cursor on these three dots and it takes me to terminal as well, and then I go to new terminal. Anyone is cool. So now, just to be sure I have authenticated, to authenticate via CLI, I can do AZ login, and I hit enter to a browser menu for me. I will sign in with the account that is needed for the training, which is this account Frank, and takes it to this page that shows that authentication has completed successfully. And then just to make sure you are in the right subscription, you can do AZ. So with this, I can confirm that I have authenticated successfully via the terminal, okay? I can clear screen. Cool. So this is just to make sure that I have access to, the Azure portal via the terminal. I can close this and then we begin all the process together to create resources. Okay. So first, I can create a folder where I want all my Terraform files to be. You can create this in any part of your computer. Maybe desktop, downloads, or anywhere. I can also go to document where I think it's more safer for me to save my files and create Terraform, a folder called Terraform. Okay, Terraform created. I can close this and then open my VS Code. So in my VS Code, I want to navigate to the folder I've just created. Click on File, click on Open Folder, and then in the folder, I'll go to Documents. In my documents, I'll just click on the folder I want to select and select the folder. Cool. I can now open the terminal, and then you should also see that we're in the part of this folder. And you can see that we are in this part of the folder, my documents and Terraform. Okay. So now I can create a file. I can call this file main.tf. TF means Terraform. Is a file extension for Terraform. Just like Word document is .doc, Excel is .xls, picture is .jpeg, and so on. So that's why we have to use .tf to specify that it is Terraform. Okay, cool. So now let's assume we don't know what next to do, or we just want to start everything from the beginning. So let's go and copy the resource reference to Windows Virtual Machine on Terraform.io. Okay, I minimize this, go to my browser, and I can type search Terraform Azure. just with this search. So this is talking about the documentation which I need. So I'll just click on it. And then these are the resources in Azure available in Terraform. But the one we are looking for in particular, the one we are looking for in particular is Windows Virtual Machine. So to search it, I can search Azure RAM underscore Windows underscore virtual machine. But even without typing the machine, I have many options to search through what I want. And you see, this looks like the Windows machine, but no, this is Linux. So if I go down a little, you can see Windows Virtual Machine. I'll click on it and then scroll down to get the resource example usage, which we are going to edit the configuration to suit our need. So I'll copy that and pop it in my VS Code. So you don't have to worry about all of this. The essence of this course is to make sure, is to help you do what I did so that you see the end result, then we come back to learn. Because I feel if you see that it works and how it works, it will really ease your understanding in your learning. Okay? So if you just follow the steps I'm doing and follow them and get the same result with me, then in the next courses, we start dissecting and start building and expanding in all of them. Okay. So now this is the provider, which is telling me Azure RAM, but I also need to copy the provider from. So this is the initialization for Terraform. I have to copy it as well. Um, I'll copy that and put it somewhere at the top of my configuration file. So this is core basic. In fact, this is almost anyone who don't have IT background can follow along, and they'll do the same thing and ask questions, and I will be able to assist. Okay. All right. So on here we have to start defining some things to suit our needs. Like I've told you, this is the initialization for this part. This part is going to initialize for our Terraform initialization, and we are specifying that our provider is Azure. Okay. So next, this is resource group. Resource group is just a logical container that will contain all of our other resources. And now, this part of this resource is constant because this is the resource name, it must be specified. But this part is the part we're going to change for our need. So this part is actually the local reference side of things. This is what our local computer is going to understand as what this resource is. Okay. So I want to give it a name. I can call it this RG, this underscore RG, okay? And then we can give it a name. This name is what we are going to see in the portal, that's in the Azure portal. We can call it my RG, okay? Cool. So by default is in West Europe. You can choose any region of choice. We are also going to discuss deeply about region in subsequent courses. But for now, it's in Europe. But I can also change it to UK South. Okay. So next is virtual network because every virtual machine must be attached to a virtual network. So there must be a virtual network configuration for every virtual machine. Okay. What's going on here is Like I've said, this is the name of the resource, which is unchanged. We're not going to change this, but this is the local reference which we are going to change for the kind of name we need. So just to match my naming convention of this RG, I'm going to call this VNet. This VNet. Okay, this underscore VNet. Yeah, cool. So this name, this part of name reference is the one we are going to see as the name of this resource in the portal, that's in the Azure portal. So we are going to call it my VNet, my underscore VNet. And this is the network address of this virtual network with SIDA 16. We are still going to learn a lot more about networking when it comes to choosing network and subnetting so that we know how to get a network size and choose a network size that suits our infrastructure. And then next is location. This is asking the location where you want your virtual network to be. Remember, every virtual network must be in the same location as the resource group. And the location of our resource group is UK South. And this is our resource group, yeah? Okay, so we want the location of our virtual machine to be the same location of our resource group. So that's how we have Azure REM resource group, which is the name of our resource group, dot the local reference of this resource group. I'll just copy that and replace this example with it, then dot location. So if I ask you what is the local name of our resource group, you will say Azure REM resource group dot this resource group dot name. Okay, but if it's location, we use dot location, and if we just want to get the ID of the resource group, we use dot ID. Okay, so now the next is the resource group name. Guess the name of our resource group from this kind of local reference. We say is Azure REM resource group dot example dot name. That's correct. Okay, I'll replace this example and leave. So you see, if we type everything and this actually exists, the color will turn to blue. And that is the function of this extension called HCL. Yeah, you may need to install it. You may need to install it. It's a very nice extension, and also tab 9. Tab 9. I also installed tab 9 so that it can help me in auto completion. And it does not just work for Terraform, it also works for other programming languages like Java and the rest of it. Okay, so let's come back here. If the next thing is subnet, so this subnet is the subnetwork of our virtual network. Okay, so it is is a part of network that we created that has been created from the virtual network, and the name which we are going to see in the portal. This is the name which we are going to see in the portal, and this is how we can reference it local, just like we did to the other one. So here I can call it this underscore subnet. Cool. And also we want to change this name to match our naming convention. I will say mine subnet. And it's asking next in my subnet, you have to configure the resource group name. Remember the resource group name, Azure REM resource group dot this rog dot name, just like we did on the other side. So I'll copy this and replace with this example. I'll copy this and replace with this example. And the virtual network name, do you want to guess the name of the virtual network? The name of the virtual network locally is Azure REM virtual network dot thisvnet dot name. So this part is the resource name, which is constant. If you don't specify it, errors will be thrown or the resources will simply not create. And this part is the local part. Remember? Very correct. So our VNet, I'll just copy the name and replace it with this example. And because we are dealing with name, it will end with dot name. Okay? And the prefix address I'll leave as is. Next resource we're going to configure is our network interface. Just the same pattern, okay? This is constant, is actually the resource name, but this is the local name. So we use the same convention and call it this underscore NIC network interface. And we are going to give it a name that will be seen in the portal following the naming conventions. I can say is mine NIC. And then location, every resource here is going to be in the same location with our resource group. Okay? And I'm going to say Azure REM resource group dot this rg dot location, or simply copy this and paste it here because they're going to serve the same purpose. Yeah. And our resource group name, the same thing here, or just simply change this bit to this underscore rog. That's the local name of our resource group. Okay. So next we are going to look at IP configurations. Here we can change the name of our IP configuration and we can call it my IP. Okay. And the subnet ID is going to be this is our subnet resource. So the subnet ID here is Azure REM subnet dot this subnet dot ID. Because when we are dealing with ID, we use dot .id. When we are dealing with location, we use dot .location. And when we are dealing with dot .name, we use dot .name. Okay. Now I can replace this here and call it my ID. And the private IP address allocation can be dynamic. That means it gets assigned, the virtual machine gets assigned IP address automatically. And also we can make it static to pick the IP address in particular we want. Okay. Next resource is the actual virtual machine. So following the same example, we can give this a local name reference as this VM, okay? And then the name we are supposed to use and recognize this machine in the portal, we can give it any name of choice, but it must not be more than 15 alphabets, okay? Or 15 characters, yeah? I can call it my Windows VM. Okay. And the resource group, just the same formula with this. The resource group name. By now you should know the name of our resource group, yeah? So it's going to be Azure resource group dot this underscore rg dot name. And the location is Azure resource group dot this underscore rg dot location. Good. The size of the VM is standard F underscore 12 underscore 2. So we are really going to look into this in our subsequent classes and to see different sizing that will suit different needs. And the admin username, this is the name we are going to use and log into this machine, and this is the password. Just to make things clear, this name is different from the name of the virtual machine. Okay, this is just a login detail, the username login detail. Okay, and then it says Azure network interface. So what is the name of our network interface? So if we come here, we can say it's Azure network interface dot this nic underscore ID, because it's asking what is the network interface ID. So it's going to be Azure network interface dot this nic.id. Okay, and this is the hard disk or OS disk configuration. We're going to leave as is by default, and this is the image we are going to use. Here we have by default 2016 data center, Windows Server. There are other images other versions like 2022, 2019, and Windows 10, and the rest of it just depending on your particular need. And here is going to make it latest version. So the essence of this class is to make sure that you just follow the steps and see results in the end. I can just close this off. See results in the end so that when we now begin to dissect, begin to learn, begin to reference, it will be easy for you to remember what happened, how it happened, and what you did. Okay, so now we have updated the configuration to suit our need. The next thing is to deploy this and see it in action. So we are going to open the terminal. And remember when I told you about making sure you have authenticated via Azure CLI. And also remember that you have to install Azure CLI, you have to install Terraform CLI. And I'm going to provide links to GitHub accounts, and I can also make a video, detailed video to tell you how it works and how you are going to run the script. Okay. So now I want to initialize Terraform to let this Terraform folder know that the file here is Terraform, and I want to provision a resource in the cloud. Okay, I'll include the command Terraform init. That's Terraform initialization. So you don't have to worry about this now. Just do the same thing I did. And in subsequent classes, we start diving deep into them, okay? But just for you to have the first feel of what it looks like. And I hit enter, it will initialize Terraform. And now, you just give it a little time and make sure that you save before you do Terraform init. Because my VS Code is in auto save, so everything I click will just automatically save, and you can set yours to auto save as well, just in case you forget to click save. Because if you fail to save, it will not build, it will not initialize. Okay. So next is Terraform plan, so that we actually see what we want to provision. Terraform plan, and I hit enter. It's going to let us know what we want to deploy and what we want to provision. There you go. So let's go through what we want provisioned. I'll scroll all the way up. Whenever you see the green sign, it means that something wants to be added. Maybe in some cases you see something like red, maybe red dashes, it means something wants to be destroyed. And when you see the amber color, maybe a configuration needs to be updated. Okay, so first of all, it's going to create network interface card, and the name is my NIC. And next is going to create the IP address, and also is going to create the resource group. It's going to create subnet, and it's going to create virtual network, which name is virtual network my VNet in UK South. Yeah. It's also going to actually create the virtual machine itself. And we can see here that it plans 5 things to add, and there are no changes, and there's nothing to destroy. So to deploy this, I will now say Terraform apply. When I hit enter, it will try to apply and ask me to input, to authorize, to input yes, to continue, or no, to break it. Okay, so now I'll enter value yes and hit enter. Moving, logging into the cloud, and then see all the good components, and then try to connect this with via RDP. Also, all of this, you don't need to worry about them. We are still going to be breaking them down and making them until we understand how it works completely, okay? Just follow the steps, okay? So give it more time to provision. Okay, so it has deployed the virtual machine to the cloud. So we have to go to Azure portal and confirm it. So on Azure portal, I'll look for resource group. Okay, yeah, maybe if it throws you out, you just try to sign it back. Okay, so I'll go to resource group. And this is the resource group I created, my underscore ROG. I'll click on it. Okay, so these are the resources created: network interface card, virtual network, the actual Windows VM, and the OS disk. But there's a resource missing here, which means we cannot be able to do RDP if we don't have public IP address. So we have to actually go and add the resource called public IP address and reference it in our Terraform. So we come back to the Terraform.io, and then check Azure public underscore IP address. Okay. So this is example used for public IP address. So the only place we just need is this part. Just copy this first, and then come to our VS Code, and we can configure it anywhere, but maybe somewhere here is okay. Anywhere is fine, but just to keep things in order. And just as same way, we can call this underscore public IP, and we can give it any name, like following the naming convention, my public IP, and the resource group name, just same way we name a resource group, Azure name resource group dot this rog dot name. And also the location of the resource group. So that's the same location we want this IP address to be, public IP address to be. And we can leave static, or we change dynamically, and we don't need this tag. We can let it go. So now we have created public IP address. We need to let our network interface know about it. We need to let our network interface know about it. And okay, yeah, this is our network interface. We need to let it know about it. And the way we are going to do that is by configuring it in the path of our public IP. Because of tab 9, he has suggested to me the name I should use. Cool, but let's go through it again. Azure public IP. Azure public IP dot this public IP. Okay, that's the name and the local. So because we are dealing with public IP address ID, we say Azure public IP dot this public for this public IP dot ID. I see this turns blue. Okay, and next we are going to plan again and apply so that we have the public IP. Okay, so I'll go again and say Terraform plan. So now you see that it has planned to add public IP as part of our resource, and it has one thing to add and one to change. Okay, so I told you when you see the amber color, it means there is something that needs to be updated. This is to update, and this is to create, and the red one is to destroy. So here it's going to update something in our network interface card. Okay. All right. So I'll go ahead and apply. And then I'll wait for it to ask me to approve or to authorize. Then I will type yes. And then we go back to the cloud and we see public IP address. And I will type yes and hit enter. So the provisioning of the public IP address in place. Okay, apply complete. So let's move on to the in Azure portal. If I refresh my resources again, I should now see my public IP. Okay, so now let's connect to this virtual machine via RDP using our public IP. I'll click on my Windows VM and then click on connect. There are two ways to connect via virtual and also to connect via RDP from the local machine. So yeah, connecting via Bayesian is more secure and is highly recommended. But for the purpose for the concepts of this class, we are running on basics so that you understand how things work first before we begin to leap. Okay. I'll click on connect and I should see the public IP address to use and connect. I'll copy it and then I will download RDP file or just go to my computer and search RDP and input the detail. Okay. So for now, I'll just click on download RDP file and I'll open it, connect, and then I am required to put the password. Remember the password we have created here. I'll just copy it. And this is the username admin user, right? So because we downloaded the RZP file, so it configured the username for us already. So I'll paste the password and click OK. And Yes, give it a little time, and lo and behold, we have a brand new computer. We have a brand new virtual machine in the cloud, and just like every other computer, you can use it to do whatever work or job you want to do. Okay, so guys, that's it for this class. Just recapping, we make sure you have authenticated on your CLI by doing AZ login. And when you've confirmed that, you make sure that you have Azure CLI installed. Make sure that you have Terraform CLI installed. And make sure you have VS Code editor. Like I said, I'm going to do another video and put it in a playlist somewhere in this channel on housekeeping, so that you will know how to install those applications there and how to install those softwares there, and then pick the ones that suit your need if you want extra more things there. Also for this course, I'm going to put my SQL workbench there and in the script, and then you should be able to run all the things we have done. Okay. Next, we went to terraform.io and search for the resource. And when we provision the resources, we find out that we cannot connect. Then we went back and created public IP address as a resource, then did another Terraform plan, Terraform apply, and then we came to the portal and we saw it. We clicked on the VM and downloaded the RTP file, copied the public IP address, and then we were able to sign in. Okay, so it's quite straightforward. I'm going to do for some other resources, and then we move into Terraform level 2. Thank you guys for watching, and when we are done, you can go ahead and read the resource from your VS Code just simply by saying Terraform destroy. Okay, so destruction is complete. And it says its resources destroyed. And if we go back to the portal to confirm if we can see my RG again, see for instance the Windows player is gone, and you also go to the portal and go to resource group, and we cannot see my RG again. Okay, so guys, that's it for this class. See you in the next class. Any question?